Here is an incredibly easy, just 3-step approach to spamming people in close guard. And I have used this on really good black belts, and you can kind of just keep them trapped in this loop, or eventually hopefully hit one of these submissions or sweeps. And so the first thing that we look at is how to do a closed guard armbar. And to me, this is how to properly do a closed guard armbar. When you see guys like act like you're gonna put your foot in your hip and then just kick and throw the leg over, there's all this space that doesn't really work. And so instead, I always try to think about closing this space like under his armpit before anything else. So if his hand was high, we might do something to break this grip, but all I'm thinking about is this hug. This is a very hard position for him to just pull his arm out, but if I don't do anything, eventually he'll pull his arm free. So what I do is I grip, foot goes on the hip, and then we shoot our hips high. So now when he goes to pull his arm free, it just does not come out. And you'll notice when you do this, it makes the guy feel like he's basically already in an arm bar. And the reason is because he can't get his arm back. And so for me, all I'm gonna do to finish this arm bar is put pressure into his armpit as my hips fall. So we go here, and then I step over and I'm able to hit my armbar. And as you do this, you'll notice that you will find real success. You can grab onto the lapel, but you will find real success with a closed guard armbar because you're putting him in a situation where he can't do the simplest armbar defense, which is just to pull his elbow to his ribs, all right? But then what starts to happen is I'm really kind of killing his ability to pull back, but I'm not killing his ability to come forward, and a lot of guys will start to hug your head, and this pretty much immediately eliminates that armbar. Now, what you can start to look for is your arm wrench. And so with this arm wrench, I'm gonna go palm to palm and start to connect. And so for me in this position, I think about shoulder, they call this a shoulder crunch sweep a lot. I think about pinching the shoulder first. That's when I'm gonna actually need to control for this finish. So my transition though is going to be, I'm gonna start to free my hips, and then when my wrists come up, I pinch his shoulder with my knee. Now I also need to control his wrist. The pressure is gonna be on his elbow, but that comes at the very end. So to control his wrist, I pinch my ear and my shoulder. And now if he goes and tries to move his arm, it becomes very, very hard. If I don't have his shoulder though, it's super easy for him to free his arm. So I'm here, you'll even see some guys throw the leg over. Whatever you do, you're just trying to control that shoulder and control his wrist. Now for the finish, you can try to twist over, or what I find works really well is to just take both hands and push straight down on his elbow, and we get the finish, okay? And then what's nice about this, and it kind of makes this the third part of the system, is I can go for that first move, he starts to hug, and then when I connect and I start to look to free my hips, a lot of guys will put more pressure on you, right? Because now I can't get my hips free and switch to that arm lock. This is where I set up my hook sweep. So I go right into here, and it's not just my leg. Actually, my leg does very little. His weight's in his upper body right now. What's actually more sweeping him is my elbow pushing into his shoulder. This leg goes behind his knee, and this leg lifts, and we're able to turn and end up in mount, okay? And like I said, what's nice about this is it doesn't really take us out of closed guard. If we ever start to miss something, I just can lock up my closed guard and set it up again. This is a really easy loop to kind of keep people trapped in when you're playing closed guard.